What you call that noise?
The XTC Podcast.
XTC-inspired.com.
What do you call that noise?
What do you call that noise?
To be on tour with Andy Partridge, be stuck in a van with him for sort of 6 hours when his brain's whirring around at 90 miles an hour and he's desperate to entertain. Hilarious. I can't tell you how much laughter there was in that bus.
That was the voice of Dave Gregory talking to fellow musician Thomas Walsh at the 2025 XTC Fan Festival in Swindon. It was a conversation that ranged from facial hair to inspirational guitarists, and you can hear it in full here on What Do You Call That Noise, the XTC podcast. Hello again, I'm Mark Fisher, and this month I'm delighted to be able to bring you not only that great conversation between Dave and Thomas, but also a roundup of the weekend's events from Gayle, Ramage and Alison Eales. Gayle and Alison are recent converts to the great XTC cause and new to the XTC fan community, so I invited them to have a chat about what they made of it all, and very joyful their conversation is too. First, to kick off this packed episode, let's hear what kind of noises you've been making. This is the slot where you share songs that have been inspired by XTC in some way. For reasons of topicality, I've bumped Jeff Norman to the head of the queue, and here he is to explain how Sunshine Chambers came about.
What do you call that noise?
My name's Jeff Norman, and I record as Monkey Typing Pool. You can find my stuff on Bandcamp. Someone on Chalk Hills, the XTC Facebook group, forwarded some AI-generated garbage claiming that among XTC's most beloved songs was something called Sunshine Chambers, which, of course, does not exist. Which, of course, meant I had to make it exist. The title sounded like something the Dukes of Stratosphere would do, so I had that sort of Technicolor Psych sound palette in mind. It came together quite quickly for me. I was rummaging through Logic Pro sounds like, oh, here's a nice drum sound. Here's a nice bass sound I could imagine Colin using. Here's a goofy piano that would fit. And of course, sitar. I complemented its tone with a clavinet, playing figures I'd initially imagined for the sitar. For the lyrics, I tried to put myself in an Andy-shaped space. I thought of all the different meanings of chambers and threw all the wordplay relating to them in there. I also tried to come up with the sort of unusual modulations Andy would use. I mostly just fiddled around until I found a chord that worked to my ears. A psych song like this needs a weird coda, so I messed around with moving from various chords that all had the one note the fake sitar is worrying over. There needed to be some kind of solo. At first, I was thinking of trumpet, but that seemed too obvious. And then I thought of Strawberry Fields and the weird drums near the end. Voila, a couple of tracks of big toms and a giant kick drum and fade. Yes, I did have to resist the temptation to fade out and back in again.
The silver slivers will unlock these iron gates and set loose my shining soul and free it from these leaden weights. Too long been banging on these walls. They're far too thick to hear my calls. But if you let me out, my pounding pulse will launch out. Then let the sunshine all around these newly garden chambers of my heart. Enlighten me, just let me start. There'll be good says my doctor. Who fears my ribcage can't contain this wild heart taking it soon. Your heat is blaring on my walls till hate is mystery and sports. Please never lock me out. Your heart's my home without doubt. Just keep on shining till the moonlight bathes your yard in chambers of my heart. Enlighten me, just let me start. There'll be the sun, ray gun bullets. I can't conceal, I'm carrying your heart.
What do you call that noise?
Beating the robots to their own game. I like it. Thanks very much for that, Jeff. If you'd like to hear more of that kind of thing, then search for Monkey Typing Pool on Bandcamp, and in particular, the splendidly named Agriculture and Morality album. And if you have an XTC-inspired song, do let me know. Just email me at mark@xtclimelight.com. It was great to say hello to several supporters of the podcast at the Fan Festival, and their contributions on Patreon make it possible for me to keep on going. Many thanks to them and the other good people who have signed up. And if you've been enjoying the podcast, it'd be great if you'd consider joining them. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/Mark Fisher and decide on your level of support. There are 3 levels, and if you opt to be a knight in shining karma, I'll read out your name at the end of each episode. Before the podcast, there was a book, What Do You Call That Noise? An XTC Discovery book, which offers a musician's eye view of the band. You can buy it at xtclimelight.com, where you'll also find details of all of these podcasts. Thanks to the organisers of the 2025 XTC Fan Festival for putting together such a brilliant weekend. If you'd like to know how brilliant it was, just listen to this conversation between first-timers Gayle, Ramage and Alison Eales, which will segue perfectly into the interview with Dave Gregory, conducted by his friend Thomas Walsh. And the first conversation begins with Alison talking about how she became a fan of XTC.
What do you call that noise?
I'd always really liked skylarking. I knew skylarking quite well, but hadn't, and I knew obviously the hits, but hadn't really investigated them. And I don't know what it was, but something a couple of years ago, Black Sea kind of fell into my playlists somehow. Mm-hmm. And specifically, I think it was Generals and Majors that got me.
It's so catchy though, isn't it? You can't help but dance to it and move to it.
And I think I had a vague memory of it because obviously it was a single. So I was like, oh, it's familiar, but it at the same time sounded totally fresh to me. And I became quite obsessed with that album. And I think for me it was the fact I couldn't quite believe it was the same band. And I think when listening to each album, it's like it's just so much variety. But as well, I think like the thing that really struck me, and I don't know what it is. I think it might be because I'm sort of from the southwest of England, or it might just be the kind of there's a sort of goofiness to the band that I really like. But it felt like kind of homecoming. That's the only
right. Okay.
It's like I felt like I'd found the bands that I always should have been into, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's been a journey. And what about you?
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's end of March this year. So at the start of the year, I was like, I need to start listening to new music. I was sort of listening to Squeeze a lot. They were the last band I got into, the Beatles, and I was just listening to the same songs, and I was sort of skipping them on the evil streaming site I use. So I made an effort to listen to new to me music. So XTC, I'd heard the name before. I thought they were, as I've mentioned elsewhere, like a goth industrial type band. I don't know where I got that from. I have no idea. Anyway, I'd heard the name before. And EXTC were playing where I live at the beginning of April. So sort of end of March, I was just looking through the list of gigs that were coming up because I fancied going to something live, and I saw the Drums and Wires cover that they were using for the promo, and I thought, right, I'm going to give it a listen. If I like it, I'm going to get myself a ticket and go. So that's what I did. It took 2 listens of the album to get it, but I finally got it and I got the ticket. So I went, and in between listening to the album the second time and going to the gig, it was like YouTube music videos, Spotify, listening to stuff. Black Sea, I think I'd gotten the Black Sea album alongside an Elvis Costello one from a shop near my work. So that was my first album as well. And it seems to be a lot of like people's sort of gateway drug into XTC, the Black Sea album, from people I've been speaking to. And it's just sort of snowballed from there, and obviously got a ticket and went to the festival, which I'd never heard. Obviously, I didn't know anything about it until I sort of became quite a fan, and it's like, oh, I'd love to go. And then dear Mark of the podcast mentioned, there might be some tickets spare. I was like, oh. So I checked my bank, and I was like, right, I could just about afford it. So I got a ticket, and the rest is history.
The same thing for me when I got into the band quite heavily when they were playing in St Luke's in Glasgow last year, and I went along. And it's a funny thing because I went on my own, but I'm always comfortable going to things on my own. I did the same with the festival because I always feel like, I'll come back with having made friends, which is exactly what's happened both times. I went to see EXTC and came back with a brilliant new pal, my pal Rogero, and this time around I've just seemed come back with loads of new friends. And so it's just having said the kind of getting into the band felt like a homecoming. Being at the festival felt like home as well. It was
really nice. I was struck by the fact that everyone was lovely. There was no when you're at events and there's a lot of strangers like, just that person's being out creepy, or that person's just like they're sort of looking at you in a straight. There was none of that. Everybody was absolutely lovely, and it was like, my goodness, wow, we're a lovely bunch of fans here.
You hadn't made it to the karaoke on the Thursday?
No, it was just traveling down that day. I was just too knackered with the heat and everything, but I regret not going.
The heat was unbelievable. I was so glad it was that on the Friday when we went to because I did the excursion to the chalk course as well. So I took the view right, in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm going to go to everything. So I got there on the Thursday. It was so unbelievably hot. I had some work to do in the afternoon, so I just kind of sat in my lovely air-conditioned hotel room and cracked on my stuff. The karaoke was great fun. So I had a go at Grass, which I had planned to do. I had to put my name down. And then I also ended up doing Seagull Screaming Kisser Kisser, which is an absolute favourite of mine. And nobody did anything from the Big Express, and I was like, we can't have this. So and also there was that, if I've done a Colin song, I have to do an Andy song as well.
It's only fair, isn't it? Equality and all that.
But that was, I love that song. It's like, I always feel like it's the song that the Beach Boys might have written if they'd lived in Weston-super-Mare. It was lovely, and straight away I got the feeling that this is lovely and welcoming. So people kind of come and sit with us, and it was really really good fun. And then the excursion to the horse was good as well. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I wasn't sure if we were just going to go up and kind of wander around, but the care that had been put into it. No, it's a guided tour by the National Trust, and it was wonderful. But it was also I found it kind of weirdly emotional. Like,
oh, really?
It was the day before the summer solstice. There's all these mythical links between the white horse and the sun and that kind of stuff, and it felt like the right time of year to be there. And it was interesting chatting. I lost count of the number of people over the weekend who said, "Oh, well, I live really close to the Westby. There's another chalk horse in Wiltshire that I always used to see going to, because my grandparents lived nearby. So I think there was this, like, I've got this weird Proustian connection to white horses as well. But I lost count of people who said, "Oh yeah, I can see the Westby horse from my window." And one of the organisers, I want to say Lee, got into XTC because he loved chalk horses.
Really? Oh wow, that's quite a way to get into a band.
It felt weirdly profound, being up on the hill. Yeah. It was really nice. Yeah. Like, what was your first impressions when because the first time you and I met was in Mecca in the evening, wasn't it? At the official... What was going on? It wasn't Dan Barrow, who did an exceptional job of Big Express. I can't remember what it was, but me and Sarah, who I met during the festival. I think we were sitting at a table with some of the lovely Swedish band whose name escapes me. Some of the members. That's it, yeah. So we're sitting with them, and I think I just spotted you at the table in front, and I think there was a break in whatever was going on. So I just nipped across, like, "Hi, Alison." But I know that Jamie didn't actually manage to catch up a little bit more, but there was just so many people, and it was so hot, and I ended up sort of ducking out, not early, but after the live music, because I felt it was too hot to dance and really too loud to chat and stuff, and I thought I just need to go and chill out for a bit. But it was really, I'd sat myself at the table at the front, because I recognised a couple of guys who I'd been chatting to on the excursion to see the white horse every day. And lovely couple of guys from LA, so we had got chatting, and we're talking about possible musical collaboration now as well. It's oh wow, cool. Yeah, these things kind of networking. No, I didn't expect it to be that kind of weekend, but not complaining. Yeah, but yeah, Dan Barrow's set was amazing. That was really impressive. And I don't know if you've seen his. He's put on YouTube. The Mummers, that's it, the Mummers. So the last convention, I think he did Mummers, the whole thing. So he's been putting up, he put up YouTube videos of him going through every song and sort of learning it and everything. It's so impressive. I'm like, jealous. No, but yeah. I did come along to this one thinking, because I've been learning. I've played like tenor ukulele for about 20 years, and I picked up a baritone a couple of years ago and couldn't get on with it at all. And then around the same time I got into XTC, I picked this thing up and started playing. I was like, oh, I can play. Like, it was Seagull Screaming, oddly enough, the first song. Yeah, oh, okay. Started, like, all I can play on baritone ukulele is XTC songs, because that's all I've been listening to since I bought the thing. And I had thought ahead of this one, I thought, oh, maybe I should, like, be brave and put my name down for a slot. And I just thought, no, I'm never going to be ready in time, but maybe for the next one. Next one, yeah, definitely. It was a real mix, I thought, the live acts. There was, it was quite an inspiring mix of... It was, yeah, it was really good. Unfortunately, I think I missed perhaps a couple or bits of some of the acts. Just, I think there was, at one point, where we were for a meal, there was like such a delay in the order. So when we came back, I think... is it Noel or Noah, a young guy on his own? I think he had a trumpet or something at one point. So when we came in, he was in the middle of his act. But yeah, the music was it was great. And you were talking about the dancing. It was absolutely too hot to dance, but I danced anyway. Not enough, not as much as I would have done, but I wanted to do a little boogie to XTC, because when would you get the opportunity apart from your home by yourself?
So where were we? So we're on the Saturday. The treasure hunt was the Saturday morning, I think. So
I decided it was too hot and stayed in my room.
I know. I would have stayed in, but I promised some people. So we actually, Sarah and Dee, I should give a shout out. So those were the two ladies that I sort of met up with. So we formed a group, and we had tour guides in the form of lovely James and Yumi Griffiths. So they live in Swindon. So they were in our group, and they were just able to sort of, we'll just go up this street and we can tick this off our treasure hunt map and everything. So it was lovely just to see a bit of Swindon as well. So the treasure hunt was fun. We didn't win, but it's the taking part that counts, isn't it?
I didn't do the treasure hunt, but I went. So I'd said I met Louis the night before, and I'd said to him that I wanted to go to Kempster's because I'd been thinking for a while, I've kind of hit the limit with this ukulele. I need to buy a new one. And because all I was playing on it was XTC stuff, I thought, wouldn't I need to get one at Kempster's?
Yeah.
And Louis had said, it's odd you say that, because when I was here for the last one in 2017, I went in there and there was a symbol that I saw that I wanted to buy, and I didn't, and I've always regretted it. So we both went to Kempster's with no real commitment to buying anything, but just go and have a look. And we both came out with exactly what we've been looking for.
Oh, fantastic. Yay.
We went back to the venue. We went back in time to hear the interview with Dave Gregory, which was one of my absolute highlights of the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was great as well. And Thomas Walsh, who I was aware of, like Pugwash, but I'd never heard his music. I've subsequently heard one of his albums. Love it. So I'm like, should have listened to it before the festival. Could have went up to him and said hello and everything. But no, it's such a great interview, and I loved the comfy chairs that they had. Yeah. So everybody else was just sitting in these sort of uncomfortable chairs, and then it's like, no, it's Dave Gregory. He needs to, lovely Dave Gregory, as I've officially called him. So he has to have the comfy
give him the throne he deserves.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that was a great interview. Did you? I think you met him afterwards, because I'm sure I've seen a photo.
I did.
Of you with him.
Yeah. Again, the Saturday I just generally found very emotional, because it was I'd had this kind of idle fantasy of getting a musical instrument in Kempster's, and that dream came true. And then I had an idle fantasy of meeting Dave Gregory, and that came true. I'd sort of. It's funny. Obviously, I love the songwriting. Absolutely love the songwriting. The XTC. It's an absolute high. It's one of the high watermarks of the band. But I don't know that I would be a fan to the extent of going to the fan festival if it weren't for Dave Gregory's contributions. It's that, to me, it's that what I felt that I wanted to say to him and did, and this was it felt like an important moment for me. That sounds a bit wanky, but was to say to him, like, as a relatively new fan, I'm always struck by how many times I'm listening to an XTC song, and it's one of his contributions that is the thing that kind of really makes it for me.
Makes it, yeah.
Whether it's a guitar solo or a piano part, I play a bit of keyboards and do a bit of arranging and stuff, and the string arrangements and other it's often one of those sorts of things that makes me go, oh God, that's clever. Oh God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I bet he seems such a humble man that I bet he really appreciated that as well. Appreciated hearing that.
He was very, very sweet, yeah. I was right at the kind of end of the queue, and they were saying, no, look, that's enough. He's got to go home. We can't keep him here all day. I kind of stepped to one side and was like, oh, all right then. And then he said, no, I don't mind staying. So
nice.
I very nearly didn't get a chance to meet him, but I'm so glad that I did, and so grateful that I did get a chance to say that to him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it felt like an important thing to do. Just let someone know that we appreciate their work, I think is the
and especially, like, as you say, like the songwriting. So Andy and Colin probably get a lot of attention and credit, but you've got Dave there as well, and obviously Barry and Terry. But Dave being at the festival, we would have appreciated that all the more. Yeah.
Did you listen to the interview with his brother as well?
I did, yeah. So that was straight after, wasn't it? Yeah. EI Owens.
Yes, it's great name.
I just love the names. And just quickly going back to the treasure hunt, so we had to give our group a name. So I called ours Sir John John's Long Johns, which I was quite proud of.
I like that.
But yeah, the interview was really good. Obviously, I'm aware of the Dukes and I've heard the Dukes' music, but I don't really know some of the behind the scenes, especially from his point of view as well. Obviously, not being part of XTC, so it's quite interesting to hear his points of view.
You got to meet Dave as well, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. So we were coming out of the main bit, and then me and Sarah were just going to head off to get something to eat, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's Dave Gregory!" And it was Todd Bernhard was standing next to him. I was like to Sarah, I was literally like tapping my chin, like, "Should I go and say hello? I better not. Oh no, I should." So we went up, and then there was nobody sort of speaking to him at that moment. I just like, "Oh, hi, I've just been like a fan for the past 3 months." And he's like, "Oh, 3 months, wow." And then I think Todd asked me something about Scotland, and then I was basically badgering him to come down, like visit the borders instead of going up to the Highlands, because I think he was going up to the Highlands with his wife or girlfriend over the summer. So yeah, I was like, "Oh, hi, Dave. Right, Todd, come to the Scottish borders." That's my focus. It's a one-woman marketing for the Scottish borders.
I love it.
I think I did manage to say to Dave, like, "Oh my God," like I said something complimentary. I can't quite remember what I said. I think it was just a garble, but yeah.
I was quite impressed with myself. I didn't garble at Dave. I was now as a born garbler. I was quite proud of myself. I do remember not being able to make eye contact.
Oh, really?
Very kind of like. It's a funny one because I don't really get starstruck or anything like that. But I think I was just having quite an emotional day, and it didn't help that immediately after that, or after I listened to Dave's interview, listened to the interview with Ian Gregory, and then Louis and I went round to Rudy's. We were like, "Oh, let's go and check out the listening." And we walked in and they were playing Nonsuch, and I was like, "Oh, I don't stand a chance. I'm going to be here because I'm coming here and now I'm going to hear Rook and Wrapped in Grey."
Yeah.
Cry my heart out. And again, I didn't, but it was a close call. So,
yeah, the surround room. So I went to that, I think it was Friday at some point. And that's where we met James and Yumi. But yeah, that was just quite nice, just sitting somewhere and just you've got XTC playing. Right. It's as simple as that. It was great. And then meeting all these people that like something you like as well. And they were all lovely as well. It's just, I think that's the thing for me, as much as it was great, the music and obviously Dave being there and everything else, just like meeting fans as well, and just knowing that they all have this passion that you have too, and just everyone being lovely and all there for a purpose. And yeah, it's just, I think that was my highlight.
Yeah, I suppose that the fact it's called the Fan Festival and that they did the fanzine and were asking for like contributions. There is a real kind of it's all hand knitted with love kind of.
Yeah.
And I was so impressed with like little things like the fact that there was a kind of quiet room set aside in the hotel in case people were feeling kind of overwhelmed, and just nice little touches like that. It felt like we were sort of pretty well cared for all weekend, I've got to say.
Yeah, I didn't use the room. I think it's because I was in a different hotel, so I was like, "Oh, can I go in?" Yeah, just knowing that was there for you if you needed it.
Did you do much on the Sunday? I know there was the film in the morning, which I didn't. I came in towards the end of that, but I've seen it before.
Oh, okay. So I'd never seen it before, so it was great. Obviously, I kind of knew the story now of XTC that was sort of explained, but just seeing the photographs that I'd never seen before, so that was great. After that, were you around for the raffle and the auction?
Yeah, didn't win a thing. Do you know, my mum's got the luck of the devil when it comes to raffles, but I've clearly not inherited that.
You've not got that gene.
No, and my one regret of the festival is not bidding on Dave's prisoner scarf from the tube, because I thought I was like, "Oh, I've just I've bought a ukulele. I should probably just like ease off buying stuff this weekend." But it's I'm going to be in Port Myron in August, and I suddenly thought, "Oh, I could have bought that and taken it with me, taken it home."
Yeah, get a picture.
But, no, I didn't win anything, didn't buy anything. Did you?
I got £20 worth of tickets, which does sound a lot, but I should say that for people listening, the tickets were £1 each. So
this as well. It was all to raise money for a good cause.
Yeah, exactly. But no, not a sausage in the auction thing.
Did you meet Hugh Patcham as well?
I didn't know.
Here's a tip for you, because I think if you like XTC, you'll probably like Split Ends. But that was my last big musical obsession before XTC.
Okay.
Was Split Ends. So I was really glad that he talked in his interview about Split Ends. He mentioned them a bit, and so I did go and meet him specifically because I wanted to say to him, so glad that you mentioned Split Ends, because Time and Tide by Split Ends is one of my favourite albums as well. But it was really weird and awkward because I went to shake his hand and I sort of knelt down for a photo, and he didn't let go of my hand. So I've now got a photo of, like, it looks like he's my dad or something. Just
brilliant.
It was nice to briefly meet Hugh Padgham, and then an afternoon of live music to kind of round things up.
Yeah, it was great. And it's funny because the day was sort of wearing on the Sunday. There was just a couple of people that I heard, and also the people that I was with saying, oh, they've not done Making Plans for Nigel yet. They're going to have to do that before it ends. So obviously that was the last one, and then a lot of people got up for that. Were you up for that?
I was up for Making Plans for Nigel. I didn't. I ended up not dancing very much over the weekend because I think just because it was so hot. But we got up and had a wee dance to Nigel, and
it was a good end to everything. You felt sort of a sort of downer when it did end, because you're like, I'm not ready for this to end. Let's continue for another couple of days or something. It was a great festival. Did you go to the Tuppenny pub afterwards?
I didn't know. Did you?
Yeah, I did. But yeah, that was really good. It's just nice to chat to some other people. And I should mention Gaz as well. So Gaz is one of the other people that I met on the Friday. So he previously organised one of the events, I think 2017. Okay. And he's been like a super fan of XTC. So I met him and his wife on the Sunday evening. And yeah, just sort of get some gossip stuff like that. It was really nice, and just everybody that I met from Swindon and obviously further afield at the festival were just absolutely lovely.
I think I just needed a bit of downtime on this Sunday evening, so I skipped the pub. But I made the point of doing the pilgrimage to the two murals in the morning. So before I left, I went to the two the Drums and Wires mural and then the English Settlement mural, and it was nice as well. And so it feels like the town embraces the band anyway.
Yeah, I think they're proud of the band, certainly. It was a brilliant weekend. I was saying to people when I came back, it beats going to Australia a couple of years ago for me. Like literally, it's been a highlight of, maybe sounds cheesy as hell, but one of the highlights of my life so far. It was just such a brilliant weekend.
Funny you say that, because I think that Saturday is one of the happiest days of my life, just for various reasons, including meeting Dave Gregory and buying a ukulele. But also it was because it was the solstice, and I have this really clear memory. I went back to the hotel in the evening just to get a bit of kind of downtime, and looking out of my window, I saw the most beautiful sunset, like this bright orange, like on the longest day of the year, the sun setting over the Drums and Wires mural, oddly enough. But it's just
perfect.
Just a really gorgeous moment of, it just felt like the longest day of the year and one of the best days of the year. It was such good fun.
What do you call that noise?
So I'd like to welcome Dave Gregory and Thomas Walsh to the stage. Here they are.
Hello. My name. How are you?
Hello. Conventioneers. Lovely to see you all. Thank you all for coming. And as you've just heard, it's all for a good cause. So we're happy to be here and just talk a load of rubbish and hopefully find something to entertain you.
Don't worry, Dave. I have it in hand.
Do you have your questions
It's just
ready?
if I sit down here, I may never get up.
Well, I'll join you, don't worry.
Well, I've got countdown, right? 3, 2, 1. There you go. Well, I'll get the hernia out of the way first, because this is an inoperable hernia. I call it Ernie. That's it, it's done, so who gives a fuck? So Dave Gregory is here, ladies and gentlemen. He's here. The legend.
And Thomas Walsh is here too. the legendary Thomas Walsh, also known as...
I'm
Wally,
just a simple Dublin lad.
but you're Mr. Pugwash, and that's what we love you for.
You should see me on the plane, though, with this. I always ask for the hot soup because the tray doesn't get to there. Anyway, Dave, how are you?
I'm pretty well, not too bad, considering everything.
So, an opening salvo question.
Go on.
It's 1980. Black Sea has just come out. You're on the crest of a massive wave. Police tours. Like, all the press loves the album. And you grow a beard. So what the fuck was that about, Dave? No, seriously, the beard. What was going on with the beard?
Well, I might ask you the same question. But
Get that close to your mouth, Dave, because you're a quiet man as it is.
I was smart enough to shave it off within a reasonable period of time. No, the thing is, I try and make a New Year's resolution. And 1981, I'd already quit smoking the previous year. So I thought, what can I do this year? I know I'm not going to shave. I'm going to see if I can grow a proper beard and see what it looks like. I just was curious as to what a beard might look like on me. And that's where it started. January the 1st, 1981, the beard began to grow. And it kind of came through the wrong color. I was expecting it to come through, match my hair, but it was kind of ginger. And then it got longer and thicker and it turned darker. But it kind of added about 20 years to my looks. And I kind of thought, well, does this really suit me? Because I kind of starting to look older than I need to be, being, as I'm a guitarist in a new wave pop group. Looking like Mr. Pooter might not be quite the look to go for. You won't know who Mr. Pooter is, you're too young. Never mind, but that was the reason, Thomas, vanity.
But it was immortalised because it was in the video for Respectable Street.
Yeah, I think it worked in the video.
I think you were playing the cello on that video, weren't you?
Yeah.
Something going on.
Or pretending to play the cello.
Yeah, and what was by the way, this is what's going to happen. I'm just going to think of things, and Dave is just going to go, what? But I just thought of it. The single version of Respectable Street, it killed the track, didn't it?
The single version? Well, I don't know. Did it?
Yeah, well, because the lyrics were changed. It was a
Oh,
very...
so they were, yeah.
It wasn't as strong a mix, I
No.
thought. I thought it was a really... It was a weird mix, actually.
Yeah. No, I had nothing to do with that. We had to do...
No, it was your fault, Dave, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I suppose it was.
But anyway, that's the beard done.
The beard one, it's kind of, it has a slight postscript because then in April, we'd gone to America to do a tour, a short tour. We were playing at the Park West in Chicago. It's a lovely club in Chicago. It's still going. And in the dressing room afterwards, who should come visiting but my hero, Todd Rundgren. And I couldn't believe it. I thought, yes, Todd Rundgren's in our dressing room. We had nothing. This is basically what our rider was at the time. 2 bottles of water and a few crusts of bread. And after the initial greetings, I said, Todd, I can't believe you're here. I'm your biggest fan. And he looked at me and he looked at the beard and he said, what are you, incognito? And that was the signal. I thought, right, okay, it's got to go. So that was the end of the beard. Todd saw it off.
Did Andy punch him in the stomach then? You know, just to set the...
They were still friends at that point.
Okay. Well, we might get to Skylarking. But how are you?
Well, you know, I'm still here.
No, but you're still...
And I'm just...
Look at the man. He's a legend. It's always a thrill because, you know, just on a personal level, Dave has helped me out over the years and stuff. But it's the fact that he's not in the top 10 greatest British English guitarists of all time that pisses me off. You know? That's a fucking travesty, and it remains a travesty. But that's just getting a few of them out. I won't be all lovey-dovey, but he's also the most beautiful person you'd ever meet.
Bless you, Thomas. And, you know, there's something going back to this guitarist business. YouTube and the internet proves beyond any shadow of doubt I'm nowhere near anywhere near any charts where guitar players are concerned, because there they all are, and there's amazing, incredible musicians out there, young, who weren't even born when I started playing. And they're just amazing, and standards are getting better and better, and people are getting more and more brilliant at making music and being brilliant at it.
Yeah, but you could fucking get rid of Yngwie Malmsteen
I wasn't thinking
for
of it
1
anyway.
year and put you in, Dave.
No, they were just...
Just play the Pink Thing lead break.
What I'm trying to say is that all these people are brilliant.
They are.
And yet they're kind of overqualified because they'll be forgotten about. They won't get to have a recording career. They won't get to make, a dozen albums or be in a band that makes a dozen albums and have some kind of recognition.
Like Ollie Halsall?
Well, like Ollie, for example.
And
I was listening to Ollie this morning, as it happens, and just thinking, my God.
So you listened to Duckworth
I
Lewis
listened to Duckworth Lewis.
And Pato?
And followed by the Pato, that horrible live album that was released a few years ago, that some amateur mastered, it sounded terrible. But I was able to get it in the computer and remix or remaster it so that it brought the guitar out.
What were they like live? I'd never heard them live.
Well, they were just a bit of a shambles on occasions, but it's just the combination of those four musicians. And they were, just amazing. Well, Ollie was amazing. But they were a tight group. They were a good group of talents.
All them Ruttles riffs.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. He did a lot of session work that people might not be aware of. He was the Ruttles guitarist and played with Vivian Stanshall and a whole bunch of people. But he was like, and I've said it before, he's like the Charlie Parker of my generation.
Brilliant.
And...
Of course, Rory Gallagher has a lot of stuff with Rory.
Rory was...
Andy's a big fan of Rory,
yeah, we both were.
Yeah.
As teenagers, we used to meet up in Campster Shop on Saturday and exchange, trade Rory riffs. Have you heard this one? Can you play this one? What about this? We were a big fan of the album On the Boards by Taste, so if you can find a copy of that. That's a lot of XTC origins in that record.
Did you see the statue that was unveiled for Rory?
I heard about it.
It looks like Katie Lang.
Yeah.
It's fucking awful. I mean, the thing is, people online get very annoyed because it's a beautiful gesture. It's a very iconic thing, but it just doesn't look anything like him.
Right.
The Lemmy statue is incredible.
The Phil Lynott one is pretty good.
The who?
Phil Lynott.
Phil Lynott, yeah.
Phil Lynott, sorry.
Well, it's just Dublin. I say Lynott, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Phil Lynott. Phil Lynott statue is brilliant, of course. Yes, that's what I mean. That's what the weird thing is. But see, it's Northern Ireland. Rory Gallagher. They're all weird up there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Trust me, they're weird.
No, Rory's from Cork.
Yeah, but it was unveiled up north.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Dodgy.
Yeah, very.
Well, here we go, Dave. Dean Gabbard and the Gabardines.
And his Gabardines.
Is that where it really started for you, or was it 69 playing in clubs or something? Or?
No, it started way earlier than that, but back when I was a teenager.
What was the first band and the first band? Pink something?
Pink Warmth.
Pink Warmth.
And then we were sort of, we wanted to be a blues band, so we changed the name to Catfish, I think. But it was just mates from school and we were all learning to play. And one of the places we played was St. Peter's Church Hall in Penhill, which was Andy's youth club. The Hop, in fact. The Hop, the famous eponymous Hop from the song of the same name. And we played a gig down there, and I think that's where Andy saw us playing and thought, yeah, I could do that. So he went off, stole a guitar and learned how to play and write songs. That's what he reckons.
So did you know Andy then? Obviously,
not really.
Okay.
I think that's probably when I first sort of saw him. I seem to remember there was a bit of a gaggle of youngsters. When we got off the stage, behind the stage there'd be a little gathering of people who were just curious, and or I wouldn't say they were fans. They were just curious as to what we were doing.
Talking shit about Todd Rundgren backstage. It started early.
This would have been 68, 69, so we wouldn't have been aware of
the Nas.
Yeah, but I don't think I would have heard of the Nas, but I didn't have any.
I'm talking shit, Dave. That's okay.
That's all right.
But yeah, so but were you playing and getting paid?
We might have got £1 between us, but it was a church youth club.
Okay.
It was attached to the church. And
So what was the set like there? What would the set be like?
we were doing covers of, things like By the Trogs, the Small Faces, the Kinks, all the pop stuff, all the stuff that was in the charts that we were able to play or get close to playing,
Equals.
We weren't very good. Equals.
Yeah. Because you're a big fan of the Equals, a big fan of the Trogs.
Yes.
Well, a big fan of the Equals.
Yeah, because they happened when I was at a certain age, I was 13, 14 years old, very, very impressionable. I really, really, really wanted to be...
They're a very cool-looking band, aren't they?
Yes.
For the time, it was weird because, you had two African English. Well, you had, Eddie Grant and was the other player, wasn't it?
Yes, he was West Indian and two Irish guys.
And they just didn't stop when they started. Everything was... And
they had such a groove.
Yeah.
And Derv Gordon, the singer, such a strong voice and a real sort of, party animal.
And if you think of Andy's style, a lot of that was Equals. He wasn't that chukka, chukka, chukka,
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
There'd always be that beat, that drive.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably, he was a big Equals fan as well.
So, so you're into the 70s, Pink Floyd, were you taking all that in?
Yeah, it was all going in. But at the time, I think because I was a year older than Andy, it was quite a significant year. He never got into this British blues thing. This was what I was really crazy about. Eric Clapton, Peter Green, Jeff Beck.
Yeah, Cream we were talking about.
Yeah,
Cream
that's
was
right.
we loved them.
They were really they set the standard for me, and that's what I wanted to do: play guitar like Eric. And so just sort of.
Did you know where you were going at that stage? Were you thinking, I still want to do music? Everyone was finished at 20, weren't they, in those days?
That's right, they were.
Yeah.
If you were 25, you were past it.
Yeah.
And so, but it was just such an inspiration to hear that music for the first time, and also the way it looked, because these guys, they didn't just rock up in jeans and trainers. Eric had the caftan, he permed his hair, they had beads.
Yeah.
They had, and all the bands that you saw on Top of the Pops, regardless of, even though it was monochrome TV, there's no colour telly in those days, you could see how glamorous the whole thing looked.
In black and white.
In black and white.
Yeah.
And it was very inspirational.
D-Time.
Just wanted to do it. D-Time was the place.
Time for Blackburn.
I don't remember Time for Blackburn. D-Time, though, was 6:30 after the news. BBC One, I think it was every evening. Or it might have been twice a week. Oh, thank you. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There speaks a man who's old enough to remember.
What was that? Because I'm deaf. What did you say?
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Oh, yes. Brilliant. Oh, nice one.
D-Time. Yeah.
Well, yes, that's...
You see, that's another series that's probably been erased.
Yes.
Literally. Are they really? Yeah.
Do you want to come up here and do this fucking interview? I couldn't resist it. No, I'm as nerdy as you because, yes, I do know there is two. I think there's a few that survive. There's a Jonathan King show that survives. Dodgy. with Carl Wayne and a load of rockers talking about the rock scene in 1968, because the rock and roll revival came in, didn't it, in 68? And,
the first of many.
Yes. What's that, Mike, Dave? Just pretend it's a banana. And you're dying for a banana. But my arm is already, I'm having spasms here. Just holding it. That's how healthy I am.
Well, they're weighty things. They're not...
But when I got to the mid-70s then, did punk hit Swindon?
Yes, it did.
Really hard, quickly?
Not quickly, no. It took a while. In fact...
well, the trains are a bit dodgy, aren't they?
Well, yeah. But we were all very, very... Basically, punk, when it started in late 76, it was a London thing. And because all the Inky press were based in London, of course, it was something to write about. It was they were bored with... In 75, you have to admit, it wasn't a very exciting year for music. I didn't think so.
Oh, wasn't pub rock a big thing, like Kilburn and the High Roads, all that kind of stuff?
That kind of started, yes, that's right.
Was that big here? Because I'm thinking there might have been
it was, but it was
casino thing.
Basic British rhythm and blues. It wasn't high energy stuff. It was more kind of blues rock and country rock and that kind of stuff. So basically the pubs were where the gigs were. So you just had to play to the punters. You couldn't play really heavy metal in pubs because the landlords would pretty soon throw you out because they couldn't hear the orders at the bar. So it had to be of a certain, sotto voce.
So tell us the kind of gigs you were going to then, mid-70s.
Well,
I mean, did you see the Helium Kids live?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, we used to kind of follow them around. They did a talent circuit. Bass Charrington, if you remember them, the Brewers, held a talent contest. This was in 1976, I think. And the Helium Kids made it to the final through a number of West of England heats. And we caught a couple of those. I remember we went to one show down at the Globe at Newton St. Low, which was outside Bath. And they were great. You know, they had the right clothes on. They were very professional. And they had all these original songs. And I just thought they wiped the floor with the competition because everyone else was doing covers and it was cabaret kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing was they used to drive around in a van that they'd got from they bought it from a removals company. And they had to paint out the name of the removal firm from the side of the van, except for 2 words on the back of it, any distance. I just remember those 2 words on the back of the van, any distance. And I thought, yeah, that'll be those guys. They're going places. So we used to enjoy, they actually got better and better. Each time we saw them, they were a little bit better, a bit more tight, a bit more polished. And I think they eventually, the final was in a pub called the Piccadilly, which is down in Covingham, on the Covingham estate. Changed its name now. Someone in the audience will tell me what it is. I can't remember. Anyway, January 1976. Was it 76 or 77?
Don't ask me, Dave.
When was Love to Love You Baby in the charts?
Yeah, 76, I think.
January 76. I
Yeah,
remember
76,
that.
77, yeah.
Yeah. That was the final, and they lost out to, I can't remember. Again, Thomas, my memory isn't what it was.
Yeah, but you know what, Dave? You've supposed to we went to see a Crowded House gig together some years ago.
So we did.
When they were coming back on the Teclis Social Club, on the boat, Viv Stanchel's boat.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, I said to Neil Finn and Nick Seymour, I said, I'm bringing Dave Gregory down. By the way, he drove at 400 miles an hour in the car. Dave is a good driver. He's fast. I'd love to see how you do on the Top Gear circuit. But yeah, we arrived and all the guys wanted to meet Dave, obviously, because it's Dave. And Neil Finn comes up and says, Dave, do you know when the last time I saw you was? Or you were playing some gig in Melbourne or something like that. And Nick Seymour goes, yeah, myself and Nick Cave were up the front of the stage when they played in 81, I think. Dave proceeded in the next 5 minutes to tell Nick the weather on the fucking day. The colour of the jumper he was wearing. It was just incredible. And Neil Finn stand there like that. And Nick is just, what? But yeah, Nick Seymour and Nick Cave up the front of that gig.
In fact, Nick Seymour was on that record I was listening to this morning, wasn't he? Playing bass.
Yeah, he plays bass on this, the second.
Duckworth-Lewis Method.
It's okay.
Which is a great band. And it's time to do another album, Thomas. 12 years is a long time to wait for a follow-up.
Well, do you want to interview me? Come on, we'll do it.
Yeah.
What do you want to ask me, Dave?
Well, let me just see. I've got nothing prepared.
No, look, we go back to the photographic memory thing.
Yeah.
Because you're worried about the talent competition thing, but Jesus Christ, Dave. So they changed the name to XTC.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea of what was going on? Were you slightly in the loop then, or just still following them around?
No, because a few weeks, in fact, after the heat of this talent show, I was then made redundant from the job I was doing, and I had some, redundancy pay. And at the same time, I was offered a chance to go professional with a proper band that had management and had tour dates.
What were you doing, Dave? What was the job?
And it was a band at the time, they were called Profile, and they were a 3-piece progressive rock band from the Forest of Dean. A guy played Hammond organ with bass pedals, and he was the lead singer, a very talented guy, James Leach, and a drummer called Sam Heaps. And they both sang, and they were both heavily into the Beatles and Yes. That was the only music they would listen to. And I thought, well, that's okay. if they'll have me, it sounds like a good plan. So I went down to meet them, auditioned. They liked what I did. I got the job, and I say the job and put it in quotes. It wasn't actually a job. They didn't have management, didn't have any gear. They had a lovely truck, and they had a place to rehearse.
Any distance?
It remained stationary for most of 1976. That's all I can tell you.
What was your guitar of choice then? Was it the Gibson?
It was a Telecaster and a Gibson SG, which I still have. I still have my first Gibson I ever bought was this SG Standard, which I still have.
And did you have many guitars around then, or was it just a couple?
Just two. Did I have two or three? No, I had two guitars and an acoustic guitar.
What are your amps?
Amps, I had a Fender Tremolux, still got that. That's pretty much it.
Cool.
Yeah. And I had a big muff fuzz pedal.
You had a big muff?
I had a big muff.
It was the 70s.
Oh, I had a big muff in those days.
It's the old jokes. But but was it? Did it feel like it was progressive with the punk thing going on? Did it feel like something different?
Well, we were basically living in Colford, in the Forest of Dean, miles and miles and miles from anywhere, much less punk. And the only contact we had with the outside world was the Inky Press every week, the Melody Maker and the NME. And these guys would be looking at these papers and thinking, who are these? What's going on? They didn't get it. And I must admit, I didn't get it either. I couldn't understand why the record companies were throwing tens of thousands of pounds at these kids who couldn't play simply because they shouted loud enough and had a few things to say. And it was like, well, if this is what's happening in London, we better sign them up before anyone else does. Yeah. And that was kind of how it happened.
But that was a big early 70s thing, wasn't it? Bands getting it together in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a band called Balls.
There was.
Steve Gibbons and Trevor Burton from The Move, and Denny Lane.
Yep.
And Alan White.
Alan White was the drummer.
The drummer, Imagine and all that other stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think they made an album. No one's ever heard it. They all became heroin addicts.
Oh.
And then that was it. But they lived in the country, had a fucking ball for about 2 years. And then Denny Lane got a call. Well, Paul McCartney, do you want to join Wings? And off he went. But, that was a big thing, wasn't it? The country thing, Traffic and all did it.
Yeah. The Traffic started all of that. And it was a great... But then you realise the sort of penury they were living in at the time. You thought, how glamorous to have your own cottage and no neighbours and make music all day, 24/7, just round the clock. All you had to do, roll out of bed and make music. Fantastic. That's the dream.
It is. Yeah.
And then you realise this place they were living in had no running water, no electricity. They had to generate out of the back for the...
Because that picture on the back of it was after the gold rush. I always loved that picture. Neil Young album, After the Gold Rush.
Yeah.
They're in a barn on the back of the album.
Oh, that's Harvest.
That's Harvest.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, Harvest. It's just, that always made me as a kid, I used to go, wow.
But,
a barn playing music.
In a barn playing music, but then again, see, that particular barn was probably attached to a very opulent farmhouse or a ranch house, I should say.
Yeah.
So there was a slight difference.
But did this contradict what you were hearing with the Helium Kids or XTC? Because they were obviously going punky.
Yeah.
But, there was a twist to it. But did you always like the music, or did you just kind of lose track of them then when you went white music?
Yeah, no. When I came back to Swindon after about 18 months of... I was down in the forest for about a year, and we did a total of 5 gigs in all that time. So, it was an experiment that didn't work. It was a shame because they were good musicians. They were just out of time, in the wrong place, at the wrong time. And, with a heavy heart, I said, look, I haven't got any money. I've got nothing. Everything I own is in the boot of my car. I need to go and get back to Swindon and get a job. So they didn't really take too kindly to that because they figured that I'd wasted their time, a year of their time. Never mind, they'd wasted a year of my time and all my savings. That didn't seem to matter. So that was it. I lost touch with them. But when I came back to Swindon, I thought, well, let's see what's going on here. And I went to see XTC, and and I was amazed. They trimmed themselves down to 4 pieces. Johnny Perkins had left. Barry Andrews had come in, so it was the white music lineup, basically. And
the Swindon Advertisers, the paper had a piece on that guy. What was his name? The original singer.
Steve Hutchins. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, I'd forgotten that little period. Yes.
He seemed to wear flares. I saw.
Yeah. No, he had.
Colin just looks so cool. You know, just standing there looking like punk.
The longest hair of any man I ever met. He was really, he wasn't called Curtains for nothing.
But so the first...
He was always a great bass player. I just remember thinking...
Yeah, it's totally unique.
He can actually play bass. Yeah. He's really good. He's got the feel, he's got the sound, and he just stands there and hardly moves, which is what you want a bass player to do.
He's a big Simon Corke fan, wasn't he? Free, wasn't he? Big, is that his name, Simon
Andy
Corke?
Fraser, yeah. We were all Free fans.
My brain, I'm getting old. Yeah. But yeah, he was a big Free fan.
Yeah, we were all Free fans.
Okay.
In fact, they're the best blues group of all time, regardless. They're the perfect four people. And to have Paul Rodgers out front, what a voice. And the man, he's still got the voice. It's just amazing.
But this is, I think, where we get to the point where XTC are so special to all of us. Because of all those things, all those bands we've talked about and mentioned, you couldn't hear one of them and the fucking stuff that they were releasing. Like white music.
Right.
You could hear a bit of maybe, I don't know, Zappa or Captain Beefheart or something.
Well, true.
So it was unique.
It was unique.
Yeah.
Andy was a huge Ramones fan. He was, when the Ramones played Swindon, I missed the gig because, I knew that they were an American punk group. And I was kind of curious about them. I think I might still have been down in the forest when they played Swindon. But I do know that people tell me that when the Ramones played at the Brunel Rooms in Swindon, Andy was down the front pogoing for 90 minutes. Or, no, actually, sorry, tell a lie. 40 minutes, because that's about how long the Ramones set took. Should have taken 90 minutes at the speed they played. They got through it in pretty...
I don't think that's known as much as the other bands he's talked about over the years, I suppose. That's a bit of a new one to me.
He was huge, and he turned me on to them as well. He loaned me a couple of albums, and I thought, I can see what he's listening to, and this is really great. He also loved Iggy and the Stooges, and that was a band that I was sort of on the fence about. I didn't really care too much for them, but I could see where that inspiration was. The inspiration for some of his early writing was.
Yeah, so they were getting on the TV, local TV and stuff, and things were moving.
Viewpoint was a local cable station here in Swindon that EMI, Thorn EMI as they were at the time, funded, and they had set up this little television station at the bottom of Victoria Road. And at the time, Swindon had a cable television circuit that went around the time. They used to call it the Pipe. And you could, I'm not sure if you could subscribe to it or it was just provided free. I think they just sent an aerial loop around this terraces in the centre of town. If you were lucky enough to be on the Pipe, you just dialed in your TV and you could get this local station. And
we had the Pipe in Dublin.
Yes, you did. A different time.
Same thing, yeah.
The same thing, was it?
Oh, yeah, you just plugged in.
Yeah.
We were the first house on the road, so if someone plugged in up the top of the road, the signal would get worse and worse and worse. So we just watched Fuzz for 10 years. I remember just punching the box on the wall. Yeah. But that's what I mean. They were getting the fame. Yeah. They were getting out there.
Yeah.
And you were still just...
Well, we was
doing the odd gig.
Doing the odd gig. No, then after I came back from the forest, I thought I wonder if my old friends from Alehouse days are still talking to me. So I called my friend Tony Green, and I said, Tony, look, what are you doing? Could we get back together and do something? Because I really like this punk thing. I like the energy behind it, but I'm not too keen on the music. Maybe we could, play some 60s material, proper songs, and just crank it up and play them at 90 miles an hour in a punk style, but with proper songs. Tried and tested songs rather than just yelling at somebody. So
please release me. Punk style.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Please fucking release me. Yeah, that kind of. But
we hooked up with another friend from Carna, a guy called Pete Goss, and a drummer called Ronnie Richmond who lived in Trowbridge, and they were all up for it. They just thought, they all wanted to do something. They liked the fact that punk really gave you permission to do anything the fuck you wanted. And so we figured, what's there to lose? Let's just go and do this for the sake of it and just have to see how much fun we can have. And that was how the Dean Gabber and his Gabardines came together.
So we'll obviously get to you've probably talked about it a lot, but the phone call then, and, because Barry had... So what was the lead up to that? Did you have phone numbers for people? How did you contact each other in the old days?
Yeah.
Knock at the front door?
Well, strangely enough, the Gabardines were together for a year. 1978, the whole of 1978 was the year of the Gabardines.
Oh.
Then at the end, I finally saved enough money to put a deposit on a small house in the town centre. And so in January 1979, I finally moved out of home in Burton into this little house with my brother Ian. And so I'd taken on a mortgage. By this time, I was driving a van delivering parcels for White Arrow, who were now, I think, called, what are they called? Yodel, I think, or they were called Yodel, I'm not sure. What are they called now? Every. Anyway, they used to be called White Arrow. And it was hard work because I was running around at a van full of parcels. You had to empty the van. There's no getting away from it. You couldn't drive the van back to the depot with half the van full of parcels. You had to get rid of them all, and that meant running. And so I did this rather unwise dashing around Bristol in this van, running as though my life depended on it, delivering parcels. But it made enough money to save, as I say, deposit put on a house. So in January 1979, moved into this house. At the same time, my brother Bob was still living at the family house, and the phone rang, and it was Andy. He had my phone number from the Burton house, and he said, where's Dave? Is he there? And Bob said, no, should I get him to call you? Oh, he said, I'm in Boston. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I've got a rather important message for him. Do you know any of this? That's how it came about. He called the house in Burton. Bob answered. Bob called me. He said, Andy wants to talk to you. And he said, would you be interested in joining the band? Barry's left. And so I thought, well, I'd certainly be interested, but look, your audience, you've made 2 albums with Barry. They're going to want a keyboard player. They want someone who sounds like Barry. And he said, no. We've had a chat and we think it's time to move on from that and do something else. And I know that Colin was keen to go in more of a pop direction. Yeah. And he wanted a song in the charts, basically. He wanted to do Top of the Pops. Yeah. And I think probably the punk thing, they got out of their system by then. They'd done this white music tour, which sounded dreadful. It lasted about 18 months with hardly a day off. And I think that was enough to kind of...
Well, I'm willing to get booed here, but white music is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And Go-To has always been my least favourite.
Yeah. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I like Go-To. I don't know about anyone else. I thought it was a fine record.
That's the thing. I totally accept it, but there's great tracks on it. But it just as a cohesive, what became as well, it just was the one that was going a bit too weird, and then they pulled it back. You Were Riot, and then Drums and Wires, which is regarded as probably... Well,
it's a different band. I mean, the thing is, I can't see any correlation between Go-To and Drums and Wires. It's a giant leap.
So I'm just saying I'm happy it went Drums and Wires than going forward or Go-To. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Okay, Thomas. Well, thank you.
And I've never been a member of the Communist Party. But yes, but 79 was Colin being pop-tastic, wasn't it? Because Nigel,
yes,
Life Begins to Hop, and then the Colonel came in 80, and Virgin were trying to sell him, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, we were doing Drums and Wires.
I jumped on a bit, but you've joined now anyway.
I've joined now. We did a tour in April 79. We had the single Life Begins at the Hop. That was my first foray into a professional recording studio, because Virgin needed a single quickly. And so that was what was chosen.
We won't talk about the video.
No, maybe not.
We'll move on from the video. But you're making videos, of course, and being on TV, and, that must have been a huge thrill, obviously.
Well, it was. It was all exciting. It was brand new. It was exciting. It was dreams coming true. Make no secret of that. And so we got good. It got a good review. Life Against the Heart. But then it was enough for Virgin to put some money up to do an album, and we were put in the townhouse with Steve Lillywhite and Hugh Padgham. Dream team, though we didn't realise it at the time. Brilliant guys, both of them. And they made that record, and they created the hit Making Plans for Nigel. Probably spent half the budget on that single, and so the rest on the rest of the album. But it didn't matter, it worked, it was fine.
Yeah. But the artwork, the album...
Yeah. The
artwork
artwork is still...
single with the album.
Yeah.
It was just all great, wasn't it?
Yes. I thought it was...
You hit the ground running.
Yeah. We were set then, immediately the record was done, we were sent to Australia to tour. And
Sent?
Well, we were. We never really... I think the biggest problem we all had with flying to Australia was at the time there'd been a number of air disasters, mainly featuring McDonnell Douglas DC-9s. And there were 2 or 3 of them. One was in Chicago, and they were all happening, within months of each other.
Yeah.
So, blimey, this is... fear of flying is bad enough, but you don't want this kind of stuff happening just as you're about to go on a 24-hour.
No.
But actually, it was fine.
So were we as good travellers? Obviously, Andy wasn't great.
I was terrible. Okay, I was petrified of it. But I just thought, look, you want to do this, you want this gig, you want to do it, this is what you're going to have to do. You're not going to be, sailing over on QE or whatever it is. Cunard aren't going to be putting you up for 6 weeks because you're frightened of flying, pal.
And how much crew was there? How many would have been going out to Australia in total?
Well, there was a 747. It was full.
No. How much crew? Oh, that's a good one. How much crew with the band? So there was the band, and there was, 2 roadies, 3 roadies?
Oh, yeah, there were probably 3.
It was full. Sorry, that was good. Because I did say crew, but, it works both ways.
Sorry, yeah.
So how many was in the entourage?
There were 2. We had a journalist from the Melody Maker, Alan Jones.
Okay, yes.
And we had Al Clark, the guy from Virgin Records, who was really our biggest champion, and one of the reasons we got so much good press, because he was a very, very popular fellow with a lot of people. And so he was very, very helpful, Al. And then, let me just see, I think there were 2. Steve Warren, of course, Steve, who's here today, who you met this morning. Steve was there doing sound. Then we would have, I'm just trying to think who we brought from England, I can't remember. Probably one roadie,
yeah.
And then we would have hired crew in Australia.
So that's a few bob,
Yeah,
Yeah, because a lot of money was going around, but of course, you probably weren't seeing a lot of it, We were getting per diem, and I think we were on a weekly wage. I think we were getting £40 a week. So it was enough to live on, but it wasn't, when you consider what the advances from the record company were, and that, I suppose, I was literally earning about a little over half what I was making driving a van around Bristol. But I was having 3 times as much fun. Yeah. But were the next few years just a blur?
Not really, no. I can remember most of it.
Oh, I know you do. But because obviously it started to get really serious, didn't it? I mean,
yes, it did.
Obviously we talked a little bit about Black Sea, silly way.
Yeah.
But that was a huge jump forward. But then, of course, the next one is the classic, and the special one.
You mean English Settlement?
Hey, if it's English Settlement after Black Sea, then it's Mummer, then it's Big Express,
yes.
Then it's 25 o'clock,
yeah.
Then it's Skylarking,
right.
Then it's Sonic Sunspot,
yeah.
Then it's Orange and Lemons, then it's Non-Such, then it's fucking Apple Venus, then it's Wasp Star.
And for my next trick, well done, memory man.
I did that to Jeff Lynne, by the way. Just talk about a clank, name drop. But he said to me, I'm doing a new song, sorry, just one aside, Jeff said to me, we're having a cup of tea. He said, I'm putting one new song in the set for the next live show. He said, have a guess what it is. And I started at Eales' first album, and I named every fucking track up to 1986. And he said no to them all. I said, what, is it a fucking B-side? Anyway, sorry about that. But yes, English Settlement. What an amazing... A round of applause for English fucking Settlement. The guitar playing on that record, the sound of that record, the cover, the rice paper effect. Special record.
Well, again, we have Hugh Padgham to thank for making it sound so amazing. We had a lot of songs. We had 6 weeks, which is a luxury for us. You know, it was the longest time we'd had to make a record. So Andy decided, well, look, we've got all these songs. We've got to record them all, but we won't squash them all, squeeze them all onto one disc. We'll make it a double disc. We'll insist Virgin put it out on 2 discs so that we get, you know, maximum sonority, as it were, from each of these songs, which is what we did. But even with 6 weeks, in 6 weeks, we never really quite got it finished. It was just a few loose ends here and there. And they probably ended up as B-sides to the 12-inch singles. I don't know how many 12-inch singles.
Tissue Tigers is brilliant.
Yeah, that was
good. Blame the Weather was on the original.
Yeah.
And Tissue Tigers were on the original.
It was great. It was we were in the lap of luxury at the Manor. We had all this time. We were spoilt rotten with best food, cellar full of wine, and all the time in the world, really. And
just to go back for a little bit, XTC at the Manor, the TV show, right, done for BBC Bristol.
Yeah.
There's a part that I've always wanted to ask you about. Do you go around all the rooms to wake people up?
Yes.
To go into your room, Dave, and there's someone else on that fucking bed.
No, that wasn't me.
Do you believe him?
I don't remember being woken up. Perhaps I had the door locked. Perhaps I had the.
We will have to look at it later. Is it on later? Is it being shown later? Check out the dodgy head and them getting up. But,
no, I don't. I don't recall. That's I do. I mean, I think I've probably watched XTC at the Manor 3 times. I find it a little bit.
It's great.
Cringy.
Especially when they put all the salmon in the lake and you all go out and have a look at it.
Oh yeah, no.
That's a special moment.
I've got it on VHS somewhere, so maybe I'll have to have a look for the tape.
Well, English Settlement, right, so as a vinyl lover, were you slightly disappointed it wasn't a gatefold?
Not really, no. I like the packaging. I like the fact that it went into,
Yeah, I love it, but...
with the buff envelopes.
Yes.
I thought it was kind of rustic. And
it was.
The original pressing had an embossed thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was as good as a gatefold. It was really class. It felt value for money, You picked it up. And it was heavy too.
Well, that was it. It was heavy, and it was the rice paper thing, and
you
had to look for the name. That's why the American. I know there's a lot of Americans here, but the American version just had to put the name and a sticker, probably saying "Making Plans for Nigel,"
and remove a few songs. Yeah, that's right.
The hair.
Yeah.
But but did things start to feel a bit weird around then with old Andy?
No, not really. No, I mean he was always complaining that he didn't want to have to get on this roundabout of having to tour. He was quite happy to entertain people, but he didn't like the fact that we were being pushed around and expecting to do stuff, and we weren't being sufficiently rewarded. We weren't seeing accounts. We were still on. I think we might have been getting £100 a week by that time. And yes, we were getting an opportunity to perform and do these tours with big names like the Police and the Cars. But we weren't seeing any financial benefit. But more to the point, Andy was being told what to do. And he will put up whatever resistance he feels necessary to see that he is the one calling the shots and that no one else is going to force him to do anything he doesn't want to do. And that coupled with the fact that he was suffering some nervous anxiety at the time, which we weren't fully cognizant of, I must admit. We just thought he was being, complaining for the sake of it and just being a bit difficult.
But the big thing at the time, Dave, was the whistle test.
The whistle test, yes.
Now, that was something that I watched as a kid.
Yeah.
And I could see him because he sang kind of wrong lyrics and I remember you was go in Yacht Dance, you go for the change when it's, because he sang the lyric that leads into the change. You know, all that kind of thing. And I think Todd Bernhardt as well is here, and I don't know whether it's Todd's book, it's one of the books. Sorry, Todd. But it mentions that as being a pivotal moment because he looked like he was collapsing. He looked really bad. So, but you didn't notice that at the time?
No, I wouldn't have been aware of it. No.
So, yeah.
But
watch the mic there, Dave. Sorry.
I'm just looking at my watch because I don't want to run into the
We're
next
up to
interview.
82. I mean, we did well.
We've got another 10 minutes.
So, Dave, Appleveen is great fun, yeah?
You had to bring that
Let's finish on a high note. But, you know, sorry, yeah, we could talk all day. I mean, really, I do apologise because I am the biggest fucking nerd to be sitting up here with Dave.
No, that's...
And, you know, we would go on all day, but if there is a time restriction, did you want to say it to the fans?
I was just going to say, since you brought up Apple Venus, lest anybody be in any doubt, I've always admired the writing of that record, and I thought the production, everything, by the time he got it finished, was amazing. It's a beautiful album, but I'll say it again, it's not an XTC album in my view. But then again, I am particularly close to what was going on at the time, and I don't have good memories from it at all. So there it is. It's a fine album, but it's Andy's album.
Okay, then. We'll one line answers. Mummer. Great, wonderful, 10 out of 10.
Actually, I wouldn't say 10 out of 10, but it was a good... I liked it, and I thought it was a fine record. It was a good studio album. I think we would have struggled to reproduce it live, apart from a couple of songs, you know, that were performable.
One line, Dave.
Impossible, Thomas. I'm sorry, mate.
I'm sorry. We shouldn't have time restriction. This is a member of the band. Look, it's Dave. And by the way, I'm not going to miss the opportunity to say that I was sitting in my front room in Dublin at 20 to 6 or something on a Friday evening, and my dad was at the coming in from work, and he was taking my mother to the shopping centre to get this shopping. And I was sitting in front of the Tube, the show, because XTC were on it. And there, Dave walks down them steps, the Meeting Place video with the glasses on, and I nearly had a piss. It was one of the most rock and roll, that was to me was how rock and roll and pop should look.
In me blazer and me boater.
You know, it was just so fucking cool. I still get shivers when I see pictures of it, even when I watch it. Well, but my dad said, did he say smoke on your brain? When the Meeting Place was playing, smoke on your breath? Did he say smoke on your brain? What's he talking about? And I went, oh, great, my dad hates it. But he did love Mayor Simpleton. So I'll give him that, God bless him. But, you know, but that was the impact for me in Dublin of this band. You know, I'd bought Senses when I was 12, 13. And, but then I missed all them. I didn't follow it because, you know, I just didn't. It was just teenage years. But then the Tube, and then I seen the Grass video in Abracababra, which is a kebab shop in Ireland. And what's his name? Colin Farrell has a gold card for Abracababra. It's a very special kebab shop. But he used to have a video machine in it. And there was 2 videos I only wanted to watch. Everything was Taylor Dane or something. And fucking Tiffany. And I see an XTC Grass and Hey Jude, the Beatles, because the David Frost clip was... So I put the 2 of them in, and Hey Jude was on first. And it faded out on the, you know, the fade. Da-da-da-da. And I was sitting there having a kebab. Next of all, the ball drops on the screen. And then... And I was just like... I cycled into town the next day in the rain to buy everything. And sadly, they were all in the fucking clear-out bins already. Now, this was about 6 months after Skylarking.
Yeah.
But I just got everything. I got everything. And that was... So what I'm saying is, it's not just a band, Dave. Like, look at these people travelling and, you know... It's truly a special, special band. Because I never thought I'd get anything out of the 80s. You know, I was into the Kinks and ELO and
Sure.
All those classic bands. But
I'm with you on that. The 80s was very great.
yeah, but you were there like a shining fucking light. It was incredible. Because, we get to Skylark and it is the, it is your pepper, isn't it?
It actually it is. And having heard the Atmos mix recently, I realised what a great record it is. Because it's a lot of the detail that makes it so magical. It's kind of lost on the vinyl pressing. But now that Stephen Wilson, the great Stephen Wilson, as I'm now referring to him, because he's such a talented guy, he's done this miraculous Dolby Atmos mix. That record is...
Is there a Dolby Atmos room here or something?
I don't know.
No, is there some room? Oh, okay.
Because
I'd love to maybe hear some of it, but it's just...
No, I was sitting there at, last year listening to it, the playback at the... what's the place called? L Acoustics. You got it, thank you.
Yeah.
Just immersed.
But I still know, I was in the parlour, I still know the smell, the taste of that, when I heard the bee going zzz, the first time. And I only had that with the White album, the early 80s, the first time. Pepper as well, I do remember. But the first time with these records, it just, and I mean, everyone here in this room will have a story about Skylark, I'm sure, about every album.
Yeah.
But, just especially that one. And it was, and thank God for Dear God, let's be honest. Yeah. You might not have made it past Skylark,
That's true. That's very true for a number of reasons. But the added magic, of course, came from Todd Rundgren, because he, although he's been given something of an unfair reputation, I think, amongst certain XTC people, he brought a lot of magic to that record. That record would not exist the way it does today without him. So, he's the fifth Beatle.
Well, look, Dave, give us a time update. And what's
3 minutes, Thomas, if we're to remain on schedule.
Well, that's a lot what I could talk about. Yeah, so...
Well, I thought we were going to talk about...
Well, here's the question. No, here's the question that people have wanted to ask for 40 years. And, it's got to be asked, Dave. I've got to ask you, when will Over Rusty Water be released as a single? On 3-inch CD?
I'm told that Stephen Wilson is working on a dance mix even as we speak.
but we love all of it. And we love you, Dave.
Oh, thank you, Thomas. And we love you too. And I hope that more and more people, as a result of your presence here today, who haven't already checked out Pugwash and the Duckworth-Lewis method, please give them a listen, buy the stuff. It's great music. And it should be broadcast everywhere, on every radio station, nationwide, worldwide.
Yeah, but I don't look like, what, the 1975? I look like I'm living in 1975.
You'll do for radio, Thomas. That's all that matters.
See, we haven't even talked about the radio tour for Orange and Lemons. We haven't talked about Orange and Lemons. Mm-hmm. We haven't talked about Nonsuch, which is your greatest guitar playing. Probably, those two albums. Jesus Christ, what you're doing with the guitar. Listen to Garden of Earthly Delights, and what the fuck is going on? I mean,
well, the nutty solo in Garden of Earthly Delights is Mr. Partridge.
Yes.
I would never play a guitar solo with all that harmonised stuff on it. That's just not my style at all. But it's a great little solo, and he just pulled it out of the air, like he does. But
then Books Are Burning, where the two of you play off each other. That's the Abbey Road.
Yeah.
That's the Books Are Burning Abbey Road ending, and that's so great. And we could hear who was playing these. Well, no, I know it's only you and Andy. Of course, George, Paul, and John played the end of Abbey Road. It's a bit more difficult to pick them out in a way. But the two of you is when because Andy does something incredible, and then you go nuts, then he goes nuts.
Yeah. But, we had to twist his arm to do that. He wasn't keen on this, about this guitar duel thing. That's bollocks. Come on, how else are we going to finish this? We can't go on doing la-la-las like it's Hey Jude or something. That's been done.
Well,
so that was it. Gus Dudgeon was able to twist his arm, and for once he agreed.
Well, when I brought that home, that's another record that's so special.
Yeah. And, I was very happy with Nonsuch. I thought it was a great record, and I still do. And I hope you like it too.
And just to say that the last XTC convention I was at was in 1992 in Altrincham in Manchester. And we were myself and two friends of mine from Dublin. And the first thing we saw when we got to Altrincham was kids lining up for the bus to go to school with cellos and stuff like that. We're thinking, this is maybe a bit of a nice place. And but we went to the convention, and that's where we got all these bootlegs. But you did a video from the studio to show at that convention, I think, with Gus Dudgeon, God bless him. And Gus, again, just quickly, obviously didn't work out well with Andy, with Gus. It's funny, I saw something online yesterday where he signed a copy of Nonsuch and said...
I saw that.
Yeah, I hope you had a better time. I know you had a better time listening to this than I had making it or something like that.
That is a brilliant autograph, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's a perfect autograph. And
but was that all bad or was it great and
No,
then just a little bit silly at the mix?
It was great until the later stages. Firstly, it was an honour for me to work with Gus Dudgeon. His history, who he is, what he's done, and it goes back to, being T-boy at Decca in the early 60s and working on things like...
the Bonzos.
With the Bonzos, Marianne Faithfull, all those early Decca records.
Elton John.
Elton John especially.
Yeah.
And...
Space Oddity.
You name it.
Please Release Me.
But really, we had...
Oh, no, we didn't do that one.
He might have done it. It was
He
on
might have
Decca.
done it.
He might have done it.
But he was the classic eccentric English, wasn't he?
He was, but I loved him. I thought he was a great bloke.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the very first time. He does the Dear Madam Barnum, doesn't he? Yeah.
That was Gus. He was the ringmaster. But yeah, such a tragic loss again. I wish he was still here. He was such a good laugh. He was a good guy. But of course, he was very, very. He knew what the job was about. He wanted to remain in control. And he didn't like... he was quite...
straightforward as well. So I'm going to mix this, you're not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's the end of that.
Yes. But he and Andy, I think it was like a question, when they started arguing, then it would be who is going to... Never mind who's right and who's wrong, or who's being reasonable and who isn't. Who's going to win this argument? And they just ended up butting heads. And that caused a lot of friction.
Okay.
It only happened a few times. Of course, it did mean that Gus lost the gig mixing the album, which he was very, very upset about. And, I have to admit, I had some sympathy with him for having lost that.
Well, Barry Hammond was a legend on that, wasn't he?
Barry was the, he's the
special work
the
on
special
that.
hero of the whole record, really.
But we don't want to end on a sour note, Dave. So, do you want to say something to
talking about Barry isn't a sour note at all. Barry is totally underrated.
Yeah.
Few people know about what he's done. Every time you listen to Baker Street, Barry created that record. So it was great to have him on.
Chipping Norton,
yeah.
obviously. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, just give us your greatest memory, your happiest, funnest memory of the whole time. If you can find one in there, if one pops to the front.
The whole thing... Basically, I just remember feeling so blessed to have landed this amazing gig where you have two songwriters who never ran out of material. There was no pressure on me to come up with songs. Bloody good job, too, because it wouldn't have lasted very long. But I was able to use my piano chops. I was able to play guitar. I was able to arrange strings. Pretty much, the
Tails and Umbrellas?
All of those. Yeah, exactly. Well... That, for example...
On a 4-track, probably? Demos?
Even though it wasn't going to, it wasn't going to buy me that mansion in Surrey, it was the most amazing fun. And to be on tour with Andy Partridge, be stuck in a van with him for sort of 6 hours when his brain's whirring around at 90 miles an hour and he's desperate to entertain. Hilarious. I can't tell you how much laughter there was in that bus. And, it's a shame to see him now sort of hidden away down in Sussex, not seeing anybody, and not giving the world a chance to share in his talent.
Yeah, the only thing I can say is that I've always just said, just go online and play some songs in the shed. People will give you loads of money.
Yeah.
You know, they just go, oh my God, Andy Partridge is doing a show in the shed. And, you know, because whenever you go and visit Andy, he just plays, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Just plays non-stop.
Yeah, no, he can't help but entertain.
Like I tell him to shut up, Andy, don't do fucking Farm Boys Wages again. But, you know, no, but honestly, it is because he loves to do it.
Yeah, he does.
That's the thing that's always a bit sad for me. Not sad, I don't mean, but, you know, it's just like, well, just put the computer on, you know, like a podcast or something.
Yeah.
You know?
But the thing is, that's what, I think he probably thinks that's what people would expect him to do. So he's going to confound their expectations. Seriously, I think that's probably a big part of it. But you're right. I mean, but then again, see, does he owe any of us here anything at all? I don't think so. I think he's done more than anyone else I know to entertain and just keep us all happy.
Dave, this has been an honour for me just to sit here and listen to you.
It's a pleasure for me too,
you're a
Thomas,
great man.
Because, you know, I'm a huge fan of yours.
Don't worry about me. I love you. We all love you.
Oh, thank you.
We're here for XTC and we love XTC. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Gregory. The one and only.
Mr. Thomas Walsh. Let's hear it for Thomas. He's come all the way from Dublin.
By the way, I think we're stuck to this thing.
Thank you all very much. Have a great weekend.
What do you call that noise?
Thanks to Thomas Walsh, Dave Gregory, Gayle, Ramage and Alison, Eales, as well as to Jeff Norman for the music, and of course all the organisers of the fantastic 2025 XTC Fan Festival for their sterling work. And thank you to the many generous supporters of the podcast on Patreon, who include the following knights in shining karma: Terry Arnett, Gavin Burt, Lorenzo Ciacci, Cale Corbett, Liam Duggan, Jamie Dunn, Alison Eales, Jeff Farris, Mike Grafe, Robert Graham, Camille Henry, Stephen Hope, Alan Hughes, Rick James, Peter Kitchen, Marek Kraus, Jesper Kumberg, Robert Lawlaw, Adrian Loon, Liz Lynch, Murray Meikle, Yusuf Murrah, Max Nyaho, Amy Parkinson, Tim Parsons, Gayle Ramage, Mark Reed, James Reimer, Jamie Rostamura, Michael Sutcliffe, Steve Swift, Mark Thomas, Nigel Waller, John Wedemeyer, Lucy Verbitsky and Martin Wickley. And that is all for now. We'll be back with more Fan Festival goodness next time.